Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Was feeling a little bit rushed there for a moment, but I think we're good to go. All right. So today we will be discussing Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer suspect at this time. According to the prosecution team, they have a really strong case against this person, and they're still collecting evidence as we speak. Hope everybody's doing okay. This is what you can expect from today's live stream. We're going to look at a video from 2011. I think this will help us kind of capture the fear that they were experiencing in that area. The unknown. I found an article about apparently there was a tipster. The first year that these crimes happened, about 13 years ago, provided the exact description of Rex Heuermann along with the avalanche. So we'll hear from him. We'll go over a timeline. Then we're going to spend a good chunk of time talking specifically about each individual victim that was found out there. We'll spend a little bit of time on Shannan Gilbert. I really want to get your opinion on that. I feel like there's something going on there. They have either they didn't handle the case properly, or they have some other suspects in mind here, which may or may not be related, in my opinion. So we will spend some time on that topic. Shannan Gilbert, is it related? How it's connected. Also, we'll talk about Peaches. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Peaches. This is she's a Jane Doe, and I believe she's the mother of the toddler that was discovered out there as well. And then I think we will also spend some time on the activity that they're doing right now. They're digging in their backyard, and I think they may have discovered some kind of bones. I don't know what that means. You got to be careful. Most backyards you'll find, a pet that has passed away and was buried in the backyard or something along those lines. So I'm not sure. I couldn't find any updates on what exactly that was that they had laid out. We'll take a look. We're going to hear from the Happy Face Killer's daughter. Usually we're hearing from the BTK. We're going to hear from this person. Excuse me. And then we're just going to hang out in the chat and see what the temperature is. Good to see everybody. Judy, Beach Fairy, Anthony, TTM, Lynn, Olivia, Judy B. What's going on, Beach Fairy? Good to see you, Beth. Jill, hello. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to members. See you guys tomorrow. We will be hanging out and talking random true crime stuff, whatever you guys want to talk about. I have a few cases I want to talk about during the members meeting. So, old cold case. Recently busted a preacher. We're going to talk about that one. Well, that's the one I'm going to bring up. So if you guys have a case you want to bring up during the members meeting, by all means. Rescue, what is up? Jill, Miss Kitty. Anthony's saying, is it true he had a secret room underground? Just a rumor or a guess? Well, I did see some reports coming out about a walk-in vault. So I don't know what that means. The media likes to embellish. They get a piece of information and they give it steroids. They rub it through that Ninja Turtle ooze, and then it pops into this crazy edition of its former self, I guess. But yeah, there is talk of a walk-in vault, and that they're pulling quite a bit of evidence from the search. So curious to hear the updates on that. Jari, Miss Kitty, Olivia too, Wanda from Missouri. Always good to see you. Thanks for joining Jill on the dinner break. Thank you, Beach. Good to see you, D. Ashley, CJK, Lone Pony, Boston Christian, DH. What is up? And Frank Meister. Good to see everybody. My good pal, Don. Search for you. Hello. Welcome. Jilly, what about the doll they carried out? Yes, I have information on that. We covered that in the 3-part series on the affidavit. We can cover it again towards the end. I figure we can spend some time just on all the random information that we've collected on this guy. It's pretty crazy. And we're not trying to glorify some serial killer. I mean, this guy tormented the state of New York, that entire area, all the way through to Connecticut, even New Jersey, Connecticut. So it's time to observe him. It's time to understand what makes a guy like that. What did it take to create this person who has destroyed all these families? But today we will spend a significant amount of time discussing the victims. But when it comes to the victims, it's not that they're nobody, but they're normal people. We're trying to understand this monster that went on a murderous rampage. We already understand these folks. They're normal. They're doing normal. They were troubled. Yes, sometimes that's normal. What we're trying to observe is a pure psychopath. It's extremely rare to run across where they actually catch somebody who is responsible for a series of murders like this. I mean, this is historical. So if we've learned anything by reading FBI bulletins, they're never proactive, when it comes to understanding these profiles and who these killers are. It's always reactive. Mr. Bundy, do you have a minute? Will you sit down and talk with us? Is there any way you can explain to us, what led to this? What happened? Like, what's going on in your mind? Like, what should we look for? Are you willing to tell us, what you see? And one thing we've learned from the BTK's daughter, and what we're going to hear from the Happy Face Killer's daughter today, is that they both use the same word. I think it was cookie cutter. So these psychopaths, they're just cookie cutters of each other. And they basically wear a family kind of like a covering, kind of like that burlap camouflage. I think people use in that area for duck hunting or something along those lines. So that's how they wear their family. They're hiding in plain sight, using a family as camouflage, basically. Good to see you, TTM. You know what freaked me out? Shannan Gilbert's mother was murdered by her other living daughter. Is that right? Yep. We covered that in part 2, I believe. Yeah, apparently she had a very troubled life. I think she was suffering from some mental health issues. She stabbed her like over 200 times. It was something really strange. I call it a curious story. Very curious. What's up, Demon? Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for participating in the chat. That goes out to everybody. CJK, little one, good to see you guys. All these monsters seem to do a good job of hiding in plain sight. Yeah, but it appears that the red flags are there, right? This guy's running around. Hey, you like true crime? That's like his way of not seeming. See, it's like they're chess players, right? They're always 2 steps ahead. So if he just came out and said, "Hey, what do you think about the Gilgo serial killer?" They're going to be like, "Well, that's a random question." But instead, it's very subtle, right? You know, it's like a grooming tactic. You know, they want to talk about themselves and how they're the serial killer, but they can't just blurt it out. So they're grooming you. Oh, you into true crime? You know, who's not into true crime? Like everybody's into true crime. Like, yeah, like if you put on a A&E special on television, people are going to be into it and watch it. It's interesting. We want to understand what makes these people who they are. Right? Hey, what's up, Digital? Good to see you. Yeah, Boston. 300 guns. The more and more I see this area, and we'll touch more on this because I really don't know a whole lot about it, but the more that I see the area, video footage, aerial photography, I mean, they could have been hunting these people. Um, and I don't know if it's Shannan. She may have just gotten away. You know, yeah, she died from the elements, but that's because she probably hunkered down somewhere. You know, she seemed like she was more of a flight. You know, it's fight or flight. She may have been a little bit of both. You know, but they're still the investigators are trying to cover their tracks, and there's a lot of information coming out surrounding this. We're going to talk about it here. Actually, let's go ahead and get started here, guys.
On a serial killer mystery in Long Island. It's something we've been covering here on the early show. And on Tuesday, police found the apparent remains of a New Jersey prostitute who disappeared now
This is a 2011 broadcast here.
Year and a half ago.
The search for that woman has led to the discovery of 10 other bodies. 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty has been following this case closely. She joins us. Erin, good morning.
Well, we have more pieces of the puzzle. If not for Shannan Gilbert, police might never have known that there's at least one serial killer on the loose on Long Island targeting sex workers. But no one could find Shannan until this week.
It took more than 18 months and
Okay, so we're going to kind of stop and go on this because they have some great, I think it's some drone footage, but look at this area. I mean, there's not a lot of people out there. And there's really only one way to run. You're either going left or you're going right. Because you're not going to run straight through the water.
it took more than 18 months and massive efforts by man and machine. But police on New York's Long Island this week think they finally found.
Yeah, look at how horrible that is. It's not just grass. It's like, I don't know. That stuff looks pretty thick.
Week think they finally found Shannan Gilbert, a 23-year-old woman missing since May 2010.
We have this day at approximately 9:14 a.m. located a set of skeletal remains.
Gilbert was the catalyst for what has become Long Island's largest homicide investigation. Late last year, police searching for her stumbled instead upon the bodies of 4 other women. More searches led to
Okay, so there seems to be some confusion in the affidavit. It states something about a training exercise with the dogs, but listen to what they say here.
stumbled instead upon the bodies of 4 other Long Island's largest homicide investigation. Late last year, police searching for her stumbled instead upon the bodies of 4 other women. More searches led to more bodies.
So I'm wondering, and this was my original thought, I'm wondering if they knew they had a missing girl in the area, so they used that opportunity to conduct a training exercise. So of course you're going to have professionals and maybe some students or some rookies or something like that. Why not utilize your time in that way, right? So I'm wondering if both things are true. Like, yes, we were doing a training exercise, and that gives law enforcement a way to maybe take credit for it, like, oh, it was just our idea or something along those lines.
10 in all. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Richard Dormer voiced what everyone feared.
We're looking at that we could have a serial killer.
Shannan Gilbert, a New Jersey escort, vanished after making a panicked 911 call and running from a client's home in a beachfront gated community. The client is not a suspect. Because the other victims were also linked to the sex trade, Gilbert's family feared she had become number 11. Investigators, criticized for not acting fast enough when Shannan Gilbert first disappeared, continued to search for her until Tuesday morning.
I got the word. They said, we found her. We believe it's her.
The body, believed to be Gilbert's, was found in a marshy area just a half-mile from where she disappeared, leading investigators to theorize that she simply drowned.
She went into that area that night,
Why?
hysterical, upset.
Why was she hysterical? Why was she upset? I haven't heard any talk about strange drug use.
Overcome by the elements.
Okay. Why would she sit there in the elements? Why would she run from a home, from the safety of this home that she just knocked on their door for a reason? Why would she leave that to go to these, to go suffer the elements?
And she expired.
Friends and family refuse to believe that. They say the 911 call and the fact that her clothing and purse were found far from her remains suggests foul play.
We'll wait till an autopsy is performed to know for sure what happened to her.
Whatever an autopsy determines, it's a tragic end for a young woman who once hoped to be a singer. Shannan Gilbert sparked an investigation and for a brief moment caught our attention.
And the truth is, we may never know exactly what did happen to Shannan Gilbert. After this much time, the medical examiner may not be able to exactly pinpoint the cause of death. I mean, the body, if that is in fact her, has been out 18 months.
You point out in your piece of how her family is convinced that she could be one of the victims. They talk about the 911 call. They talk about the placement of things that were found. But investigators, law enforcement, not convinced.
Well,
why is there just
Why are they so convinced
that she is not?
Well, number one,
Yeah, listen, even they're like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean?
Investigators, law enforcement, not convinced.
Well,
why is there just
Why are they so convinced
that she is not?
Well, number one, I don't believe she's number 11. I don't think she's a victim of the serial killer, but she could have been murdered because she was afraid of something that night.
Sure.
I think the investigators say why she's not the 11th, for obvious reasons. Her body was found under very different circumstances. At least 4 of the bodies of the serial killer, the victims of the serial killer, were wrapped in burlap. Mm-hmm. They were dismembered. That was not the way she.
Yeah, I don't think that they had an opportunity to wrap her or do all that weird stuff. I think she ran and got away. I think she got away and she hid, and she died where she was hunkered down. That's my opinion. I think law enforcement believe that as well. I think whoever was part of that 911 call, I think they might know something. I don't think law enforcement want to spook them. Yeah, I went and grabbed a whole bunch of photos, so we're gonna talk about that towards the end. What's up, Ruckus? Good to see you, buddy.
Shannan Gilbert's remains were found. But it is, I think, a little irresponsible for the police to say she absolutely drowned before there has even been an autopsy conducted.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
In 10 seconds.
See, that to me that stands out. That means that it could just be part of their strategy. This is what we're going to go ahead and give the public, but behind the scenes, we're extremely interested and we're saying what you guys are saying. You know, but we don't want these guys to know what we're doing.
It is, I think, a little irresponsible for the police to say she absolutely drowned before there has even been an autopsy.
She absolutely drowned. Oh, is that what the autopsy said? No, we haven't done one yet. Oh, okay. See, to me, this is it seems like a behind the scenes strategy that they came up with. Like, okay, it looks like there's others involved. And these other people who are involved could be like gatekeeper types. You know what I mean? Like the rich folk call them up and say, hey, you know, we need this, this, and that. We'll pay you an extra amount for keeping your mouth shut or for helping line these clients or customers or potential victims up. There could be like some kind of whole organized sex trafficking, murder. One thing we're learning is you have the CSAM is always seems to be in company of these murder cases. So can't be looking at this CSAM as if it's some kind of harmless thing, because we see it's right next to these serial killer murder cases, these sick individuals that want to take it to the extreme. You know, like we learned from Ted Bundy, everything just keeps getting elevated and elevated until you're committing murders. That should explain to you guys out there that this whole CSAM thing is highly elevated. They've crossed that line. It's not much different from murder. It really isn't. If they could convince themselves that they weren't going to get caught or they could get away with it, they would commit murder. Because that's why they're doing the CSAM, is they think they're getting away with it. You know, with those catfish accounts.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
In 10 seconds here, any closer at this point, investigators, to finding the serial killer?
Clearly not, because the Dormer police commissioner, Dormer, said to me it's one serial killer. Then yesterday the prosecutor said it's more than one. I think that says a lot.
It does.
So in 2011, the prosecutor at the time said we have more than one. So whatever that means. Welcome, Timmy. I think I missed you too there. Copper, good to see you. Might be missing a couple more. Frederica, hello. Camaro, good to see you. Deb's True Crime Notebook, welcome. True crime and other stuff, hello. Anna says that could be something related to drug use. Could be. We don't know. I don't think so. I think she was chased out there. I think they wanted her to get scared and run, and she did the opposite. They wanted her to take off running, I think. And she's like, "No, I'm not doing it. If you're going to kill me, you can do it right here." Well, that wasn't what they were out there for. She's taking all the fun out of it. Like, "No, I'm not going to partake in what you're doing." Either that or she had an opportunity and she took off running. But yeah, we'll spend some time on that. I think right now we're going to read this article. Here, let me put it up on the screen for you guys. I pulled this from the Madison Leader Gazette, and I think this is the tipster here. Gilgo Beach murder tipster wants to know why bust took 13 years. Articles by Raymond Hicks. Put it out just 2 days ago. Yeah, they could have been on boat too, huh? On boat on one side and then maybe like on foot on the other side. Yes, Anthony. I think that's what we're going to read here. The Long Island man whose tip provoked key to nailing Gilgo Beach murder suspect Rex Heuermann wants to know why it took police more than a decade to follow up on his lead. "I gave them the exact description of the truck and the dude," Dave Schaller said in his first interview since the accused serial killer's arrest July 13th. "I mean, come on. Why didn't they use that?" Schaller, who lived with Gilgo Beach victim Amberlynn Costello before she disappeared September 2010, told cops at the time that the man he believed to be her abductor looked like a hulking ogre with an empty gaze who drove a distinctive first-generation green Chevy Avalanche. Schaller said he scuffled with the creep when the man threatened Costello, a sex worker who locked herself in their bathroom to protect herself from the enraged client. On September 2nd, 2010, she set out to meet the same customer and was never seen alive again. "When they told me she was dead, he was the first person who jumped in my head," Schaller told the Associated Press. Of then unknown suspect, "I've been picturing his face for 13 years. But it wasn't until last year the Suffolk County cops began properly examining the tip when they reopened their probe under the direction of a new chief and former New York Police Department honcho Rodney Harrison into the cold case murder of Costello and the 10 other people whose bodies were found between 2010 and 2011 in a marshy stretch on Long Island's South Shore. Schaller's information helped finally identify Heuermann, a Massapequa Park architect, as a suspect in the murder of Costello and at least 2 of the other slain women. Heuermann, a massive figure who drove a Chevy Avalanche, fit Schaller's description of Costello's violent client to a T. "This was crucial information, and I don't know why they didn't share it," said former Suffolk County Police Detective Rob Trotta, now a county legislator. "They made serious blunders here." Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney suggested to the AP that the tip may have gotten lost within the sea of other tips and information. We've heard that before. Heuermann, a 59-year-old married dad of 2 who had an office in Manhattan, was charged with the deaths of Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, and Megan Waterman, who police said were escorts who worked the area. Heuermann is also the prime suspect in the death of Maureen Brainard Barnes. Schaller said during a 2016 A&E documentary about the case that he dropped Costello off to the client who offered to pay her for the entire night. This one guy kept calling, and she said she wants it for the night. He said in the clip, "Did he throw money at you?" "Yeah, 1,500. It was too much money. I mean, 1,500 bucks, Schaller said. That is a lot of money. It just sounded like too much money, he told A&E. It was like 9:45, and the guy called. I walked to the edge of the property. She gave me a hug, and she bounced. She was off. Police have now impounded 2 avalanche vehicles from Heuermann's Long Island home and from a secluded piece of land he owns in rural South Carolina. Police said Schaller's tip, along with burner phone records and DNA pulled from the half-eaten pizza crust, all helped them to Heuermann, who was arrested outside his Midtown offices. So we heard a little bit about this story, remember? The ruse, he kind of tells it a little bit different. The way we originally heard it was just to kind of steal money, right? They have the John show up, and then in the middle of everything, after they get the cash, in comes the boyfriend, enraged. "What are you doing with my girlfriend?" And then they say, "Oh, well, we'll meet up later." And then they take that money and they can go get, drugs or whatever. That was the original story. But I think this is the gentleman who is part of that, the other part of that story, the friend. Give me 1 second, guys. Tried to type root beer and I put foot beer. I don't want no foot beer. I want a root beer. Yeah, it looks like we're getting fast food. Good thing I worked out today. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy sponsoring today's live stream. Appreciate you, Cindy. Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot as time goes by here. Here's a little bit on the timeline. Kind of help put it in perspective. Thank you, Cindy. All right. Oh, Judy B coming through with the super sticker. So we have 2 sponsors for today's live stream. Shout out to Cindy Lean and Judy B. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have May 2010, Shannan Gilbert goes missing. December 11th, 2010, remains of Melissa Bartholomew are found. December 13th, 2010, remains of Maureen Brainard Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello found off Ocean Parkway. These 3 plus Bartholomew known as the Gilgo 4. March 29th, 2011, remains of Jessica Taylor found in Manorville. April 4th, 2011, remains of Valerie Mack, aka Jane Doe number 6, until May 2022. Unidentified toddler and Asian male found Max remains found years apart in Manorville and Gilgo Beach. Toddler's remains found along Ocean Parkway near where Max remains were found. Remains of Asian male found along Ocean Parkway. April 11th, 2011. 2 more bodies found. One unidentified known as Jane Doe 7. Other believed to be mother of toddler whose remains found earlier. December of 2011, Shannan Gilbert's remains found in Marsh, 11th set of remains found. I wonder if they're still looking out there. I mean, how sure can they be that they're done, finding victims? Yeah, for sure. Anthony says better search all the property him and his brother own, and then some, right? Anna says they were looking for leather scraps and noted the initials on the belt found at the crime scene when they were searching his brother's place. Interesting. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, it seems strange that you have 2 psychopaths in one family. Don throwing his weight around. Hey, GP, welcome. Okay, now the list that I'm pulling here, it has little pieces of information on each victim. This one I took from the New York Post. So we're going to go down this list here. And then I went and pulled images too to match up to each one of the victims as we name them off. So hopefully I lined these up correctly. Okay, who were the Gilgo Beach victims? Suspected serial killer Rex Heuermann, a New York City architect and married dad of 2, was arrested in connection with the long unsolved Gilgo Beach murders. The arrest is tied to the so-called Gilgo Four. Women found wrapped in burlap within days of each other in late 2010. The years-long investigation that led to the arrest revolved around the discovery of more than 10 sets of human remains along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in Suffolk County between December 2010 and April 2011. Most victims were petite female sex workers with green or hazel eyes, but there were also 2 exceptions, a 2-year-old girl and a young Asian man. All right, so we're starting here. The image you see is Melissa Bartholomew. I believe she was 24 at the time. Bartholomew was a sex worker who lived in Unionport section of the Bronx and dreamed of one day opening her own beauty salon. She was last seen alive in her basement apartment on Underhill Avenue on July 12th, 2009. This is Maureen Brainard Barnes, 25 at the time she went missing. Was living in Norwich, Connecticut. She went missing after taking an Amtrak train from New London, Connecticut to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan on July 6th of 2007. This is Amber Lynn Costello. Costello, 27, was a sex worker and a heroin addict who lived in West Babylon, New York, at a home with a woman and two men. She advertised on Craigslist and Backpage to support her and her roommate's drug habits. Costello was found in December of 2010 after having been last seen leaving her home that September. This is Megan Waterman, a 22-year-old mom of one, was last seen on June 6, 2010. She lived in Scarborough, Maine, and earned a living as an escort. She was last seen by her family boarding a New York-bound Concord Trailways bus in Maine. Her body was found on December 13th, 2010, on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. This is Jessica Taylor. Remains belonging to Jessica Taylor, a 20-year-old woman working as an escort in New York City, were found in a wooded area in Manorville on July 26, 2003. Her additional remains, initially labeled Jane Doe number 5, were discovered on March 29, 2011 along Ocean Parkway. This is Valerie Mack. Valerie Mack was 24 years old and living in Philadelphia when she went missing. She worked as an escort using the alias Melissa Taylor. Relatives last saw Mack in the spring or summer of 2000 in Port Republic, New Jersey, but she was never reported as missing to the police. Her partial skeletal remains were found in Manorville in September 2000, but were initially known as Jane Doe number 6. Unidentified Asian man. The skeletal remains of a yet-to-be-identified Asian man were found along Ocean Parkway on April 4th, 2011. It is estimated that the man was between 17 and 23 years old at the time of his death. He was approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall with bad teeth. Peaches and her daughter. An African-American woman's partial remains were discovered in Hempstead Lake State Park back in 1997, and she had become known as Peaches because of a bitten tattoo of a peach on her left breast. On April 4th, 2011, police uncovered the remains of a toddler who was about 2 years old at the time of her death. DNA testing confirmed that one of the skeletons was that of 2-year-old girl's mother, Peaches. And this is the image of the tattoo. Let's read here a little bit about. So the same tattoo is connected to the Gilgo Beach investigation. This case, launched nearly 12 years ago, led to the discovery of 10 human remains, mostly women, one man, a child, along Ocean Parkway. One of the unidentified victims, an African-American female known as Jane Doe 3, was nicknamed Peaches for the tattoo on her left breast. She was discovered in Hempstead Lake State Park in 1997, but other skeletal remains in a plastic bag belonging to the victim were found near Jones Beach State Park during the investigation. The remains of the woman's daughter, only 1 to 2 years old, whose authorities say was murdered, were found in 2011. The mother and daughter were found wearing similar gold bracelets. Hold on. And I believe this is the sketch of Jane Doe number 7. Remains found on April 11th, 2011, along with the body of the woman dubbed Peaches, was linked by DNA to a body that was found 15 years earlier on Fire Island. On April 20th, 1996, skeletal remains of a young white female were discovered in Davis Park on Blue Point Beach. 2 sets of remains, collectively known as Jane Doe number 7, have not been identified. And now that brings us to Shannan Gilbert. Gilbert was a Craigslist escort who lived in Jersey City, traveled with her driver, Michael Pack, from Manhattan to meet a client, Joseph Brewer, at his home in Oak Beach Association on the morning of May 1st, 2010. She spoke with two neighbors before disappearing. Her body was discovered in a marsh near Oak Beach, about half a mile from where she was last seen alive, on December 13th of 2011. So Michael Pack and a client, Joseph Brewer. This article was from Rachel Dobkin. She put it out yesterday, titled Gaps in Story, Long Island Serial Killer Cops, Pink Panther Probe into Victim Shannan Gilbert's Death Has Crucial Flaw, Lawyers Say. Yeah, I think it was a different crime scene, right, Beach? Yeah, this is extremely sad. And the way they just kept piling it up. Just one victim after the other. I mean, imagine if they didn't catch this guy. And they could have had their eye on him for some time, you know. Maybe he was getting ready to do it again, and they're like, "Well, we got to, we got to take action." I haven't heard anything about his brother being linked. Wow, 18 bodies. It's insane. I mean, New York is a big city, you know. I'm sure some killers decided to pick that location. Yeah, I wonder what her story is. I wonder if anybody's going to come forward and say, "Yeah, we know who Peaches is." Shannan Gilbert, 23, disappeared from Oak Beach, New York in May 2010, prompting local authorities to search the South Shore beaches on Long Island. The search led to the discovery of 10 other bodies scattered along Ocean Parkway, including 4 sex workers found near Gilgo Beach, who would become known as the Gilgo Four. Gilbert was the last to be found. Her body was discovered lying face up in a marsh of Gilgo Beach in December of 2011. Almost 13 years after the Gilgo Four, Megan Waterman, Maureen Baynard Barnes, Amber Lynn Costello, Melissa Bartholomew were found. December 2010, a suspect was finally arrested. Rex Heuermann, a 59-year-old architect from Massapequa Park, was taken into custody July 13th for the murders of Megan, Melissa, and Amber. He remains the prime suspect in Maureen's death. The arrest of the so-called Long Island serial killer brought an over decade-long case back to the spotlight, and with it came questions surrounding Shannan's death. John Ray, Shannan's family lawyer maintains that Shannan did not die by accident, as the Suffolk County Police Department has claimed, but was strangled to death. One police theory was that Shannan could have died from natural elements after she got lost in the marsh. However, Ray disputes this reasoning, saying that when he went into the marsh in May 2012, on the same day and time Shannan went missing, with the weather being similar, the conditions were not nearly as harsh as police claimed them to be. We were so unsure of what we were facing that we purchased Vietnam era army fatigues and bright iridescent orange boots so that if we got lost, we could be rescued, Ray exclusively told the U.S. Sun. The lawyer added, "We even brought a rope with us, so in case we got stuck in quicksand or anything of that sort. So we were well prepared, but overly prepared because when you actually get into the marsh, it's not nearly like that at all," Ray said. Ray first joined the case around January 2012 and shortly after stepped in for the Gilbert family. He held a press conference at Oak Beach. He recalled calling the Suffolk County Police Department's probe a Pink Panther investigation and referred to former Commissioner Richard Dormer, who led the Gilgo Beach murders investigation, as Inspector Clouseau, the bumbling detective of the Pink Panther series. Ray's jab at the local investigators' handling of Shannan's case comes from Ray's very serious claim that the department did not provide enough evidence to declare her death an accident. They cannot establish what kind of an accident. What if it was an accident? Why they've concluded that? And yet the same homicide detectives who focus their whole life on evidence draw a conclusion that has nothing to do with the evidence that they've discovered, Ray said in a previous interview. The Suffolk County Police Department told the U.S. Sun, "We are not commenting on John Ray's comments or anything else pertaining to the investigation." I think that they're looking into other people. That's what if I feel like this is pointing at. They're like, "Please, back off, Mr. Attorney. We're trying to keep this information, hidden." All right. So let's go ahead and let's play this 911 call, and then we're going to hang out in the chat. I want to get your guys' serious opinion on this part of this strange case here that's unfolding. Hold on a second. Something's going on with my audio again. Give me a moment, guys. All right. Hopefully that helped. Didn't help. Hold on. All right. That should do it. No, didn't help. Okay, that's why. Jeez. All right, guys, hold that thought. I'm gonna completely reset my system real quick because that's driving me crazy. So we'll just call this a quick intermission. Nobody panic. Nobody go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alrighty, let's try this again. Let me know if you guys can hear this okay.
Yeah, there's somebody after me. I'm sorry? There's somebody after me. Where are you? There's somebody after me. Okay, where are you? There's somebody after me. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know. You're driving right now? No, I'm inside the house. I'm sorry? I'm inside the house. What house? I don't know. Can you show where I am? I'm sorry? Can you show where I am? No, I can't. What's your callback number you're calling from? Huh? What phone number are you calling from? Somebody's after me. Please. Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County? I'm in Long Island. Where on Long Island are you? No, stop, no. Where on Long Island are you? In Suffolk County, Nassau County? Huh? Hi. You call me by my name. Why? County 101? Please. Stop it, please. Please stop. Please. Can you turn the door? Please. 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 No, please. Please. Why?
What are you gonna do to me? She said. She sounds calm.
Please stop. No, stop it, please. Hello? Hello? Please. What's the problem? What's the matter? What happened? Hello? Please, do not do it. Hello?
It almost sounds like she could be kind of tripping and they're kind of annoyed by it, but it also sounds like she trusted them. Um, like it was your job to get me out of this place. Like you're my safety. Like I counted on you, and you're not. You actually put me in danger. And she seems like she's really frustrated by that, almost helpless.
Fantastic. About this. You were part of it all along. Oh, I had met it as well.
Shannon then ran from Brewer's house at 8 the Fairway.
She says you were part of this. Here, let's listen to that part again.
Hello? You're being fantastic. About this. You were part of it all.
She says you're being sarcastic about it. You are part of this all along. So it's almost as if she was brought into a room and she can see the planning, maybe. Maybe they're getting guns together or they're putting some weird shit together, or they're even threatening her, like, hey, hinting at what's to come. And she's like, you guys put me in this dangerous situation. You were in on this. And if somebody has $1,500 to just throw around to keep people quiet, that's a lot of money. Maybe you have a powerful client who's given you a budget to work with, maybe.
Shannon then ran from Brewer's house at 8 the Fairway to Gus Coletti's house at 17 the Fairway, a distance of 0.2 of a mile. Shannon interacts with Coletti. He invites her inside his home.
Shannon. Hello? Hello?
She then runs from Coletti's home, prompting Coletti to call 911. After Coletti's call, Shannon then runs another 0.2 of a mile to another home at 43 the Bayou, prompting a third 911 call made at 5:30 a.m. by Barbara Brennan.
Subject, please, and location of emergency. Yes, this, Livernois Beach in the association.
Yeah, me too, Beach. There's just no way. And if you notice, she's like going towards that field.
I'm at 17 the Fairway. All right, tell the girl and the boy. Pardon me? Tell the girl and the boy. The girl is about 14 years old, got blonde hair, very small. The boy, I can't tell, he was into like a suburban color, black. Did you happen to get a plate number or anything? No, I didn't. Okay, how come your phone? Four. Are they still on the server? They just went yesterday, actually.
Yeah, they could. That could be part of what they do. Drug them, give them a hallucinogenic drug, and then send them on their way. Give them a certain amount of time, and then go out there and try to get them. That's what it looks like. Yep, CJK. That's what they did.
What's the nearest client street now? Ocean Park, right? She said she's in danger. Do you know her or no? No, I don't. I'm not letting her in. She's been in on your toilet? Yeah. Did you know what kind of danger? No. Oh. And we live in a gated community. What's your name then? I'm Barbara Brady. Is there a name for that community? Oak Beach Association. Oak Beach Association. And I have an elderly mother here. All right, I'll get Claudia right over there, okay? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is drone footage and footage shot from the ground shown in the marshland. It was taken at the same time of year and time of day as when Shannan went missing. These reeds can grow over 12 feet tall. They can disorient someone inside them, causing them to lose a sense of direction. One cannot tell where the highway is or where the bay is. The reeds and brush can become impenetrable in places. There's a trench running east and west through the marshland. This was created to allow mosquito control. It is believed that Shannan followed this trench. Personal belongings of hers were found just north.
Okay, now picture, let's say, the person who's trying to kill these women out there covered in burlap, hiding. They could run right by them.
North of the trench. Shannan's remains were found north of the trench, about 158 feet south of Ocean Parkway, approximately 3/4 of a mile from where she was last seen. There has been information received during the course of this investigation that other people might be involved in this incident. They have all been investigated, and there is no reason to believe at this time that anyone else is involved in this tragic series of events.
See, when they put it that way, the public says, oh, they're cleared. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying they deal with evidence and they deal with proof. They can't speculate like we're doing here. They just don't get that option. So you can't expect that from them. But that doesn't mean that behind the scenes that they're not working on something. All right, because we are running out of time, let's go ahead and look at what they've been doing in the backyard there. Just a quick little news clip.
Investigating the Gilgo Beach murders are now digging in the backyard of suspect Rex Heuermann. Whether they're looking for evidence or remains, they have not officially said, but the search is intense. News 4's Miles Miller is live at the home in Massapequa Park with the latest. Miles?
There's quite a lot of law enforcement activity here, Gilma. They've been on scene here for 11 days straight now. We'll take you to video now from Chopper 4. They're live over this home here in Massapequa Park, and you can see that there is an excavator there, but the officials who were in the backyard, those crime scene investigators, are using ground-penetrating radar, which has been used by law enforcement agencies across the country to locate graves and forensic evidence. They use this kind of technique and this kind of tool because it does not disrupt any potential evidence that is underground. So what they need to do is, what they did over the weekend is move a lot of that soil out of there and then look for anything that may be under the surface. They want to see if there's any evidence in this case that is probative that could be buried back there. Of course, it has been, again, 11 days since the arrest of Rex Heuermann, and so police have been pouring through the potential evidence they've collected from this Long Island home. The architect and father of two pleaded not guilty 11 days ago to murdering 3 young women over a decade ago. His longtime wife last week filed for divorce. Now, her DNA has been at the center of this case as well because a strand of her hair was found at that crime scene in Gilgo Beach. Now, police believe that his wife was traveling when he allegedly murdered these victims, and she has not been charged with the crime. Again, the search today is focused on any evidence that may be linked to these cases and potentially any other cases.
what's next? What are the next steps? And throughout the entire investigation, that's always been the question. What is the next step? What do we have to do next? And now that we have a suspect in custody, we follow that same methodology. What are the next investigative steps? What other evidence can be recovered that can be used, whether it be in trial or to associate our suspect with potentially other victims?
And what we know this morning is that that work will continue in the backyard to use those forensic tools to figure out if there's anything buried beneath the surface of this home. We know that for 11 days straight, they have been searching for any potential evidence that could be tied to the crimes that are confirmed and the ones they believe he may be responsible for, to see if there may be evidence of that as well. He will be back in court on August 1st. He remains in the Suffolk County Jail until then.
I want to give a quick shout out again to Cindy Lean and Judy B for sponsoring today's live stream. All right, let's take a look at some of the photos I was able to gather or collect here of this ongoing, I guess, dig. They're doing oh, here, we'll let these images speak for themselves. Some of these are just from the search of the home prior to the digging. Some of the guns, some bolt action. There's the avalanche. And then they took a green one from another property. So looks like a jack, one of those old school jacks. Right. It's just weird when you have like these important tips that just go missing. I just don't understand how the most important piece of information is overlooked. Something's, they're doing something wrong when it comes to that part of things. You need to do better. Man, they're digging pretty deep. Yeah, make sure you guys go vote on the poll, participate on that. We're going to close that down here. We have about 15 minutes remaining on the live stream. We're going to close the poll down at about 10. Looks like they're using that ground penetrating, what would that be, sonar? This thing right here. You might remember seeing something similar on Jurassic Park, where they load a shotgun shell in there and they send that vibration all the way through the ground. Pick up the readings. I think that's what that is, right? I could be wrong. That's what that looks like to me. Here's another image of the same, looks like the same machine. Could be a metal detector, maybe. Maybe even detecting remains. Somebody else is flying a drone right here. Now I believe these kind of look like bone fragments. Yeah, they found something. Looks like bones or something. Yeah, hopefully they can get to the bottom of it, Anna. Some creepy stuff. I wonder what they found down there. Yeesh. Yeah, that shit don't make any sense. It's like, how do you lose the most important piece of information? Yeah, we're out. We're almost out of here. Let me close this poll out before I forget. Right, with Shannan Gilbert, another Lisk victim, Long Island serial killer victim. 53% said yes, 31% said not sure, 16% said no. Thank you to everybody who participated in the poll. Well, guys, we may be out of time. Let me see if there's anything else I got here. Some quotes from the Happy Face Killer's daughter. Let's see. I think there's a common misconception with serial killers that they're either these white males that drive a white van, or there's some kind of Silence of the Lambs character, some kind of cunning geniuses who can trick and evade law enforcement. But that's not what I have encountered in my decades long career working with family members of serial killers. Serial killers to me are cookie cutters of each other. So when this case came out, I felt like I had really good grasp of who Rex was immediately as a suspect. He was the life of the party, so he was really friendly and outgoing, but he was also described the same way Rex has been by some people, which is he was creepy and weird. That's because he didn't have any social graces. He couldn't read the room, and that was due to his narcissism that left him without a filter. So he would say very provocative and sexually explicit things to women and just make them feel uneasy. And so there's an aspect, but also he just didn't have social graces in any way. And so he'd give off creepy vibes to certain people. He was just a weird guy and a complicated person. It was only after he was arrested that I realized things that my family and I had dismissed as odd quirks were the telltale signs of a serial killer. I'm sure something similar will happen with Rex's family if he did do this. And her name's Melissa Moore. My father and people like him used their families as a mask for their insanity. The reason they didn't know is because he and other people like him are so skilled at leading a double life. He was coming home and telling his wife he killed these women. He wasn't coming home and telling his wife he killed these women. It's not in his best interest to do that because it would be over. The facade would be over. His cover up would be over, so the only way he doesn't get caught is by keeping them in the dark. His family was a tool for him. If there's still a resource for him, then he's going to try to use to protect himself. With Rex as a suspect and my father as a convicted serial killer, I came to learn that our father was a facade and helped him go under the radar for so long. My father and people like him use their families as a mask. And after they're caught, serial killers try to keep their families close because they need the family. They need their support for optics and to continue controlling their assets and controlling their story. The best thing his wife and kids can do is to cut all contact, never look back. It will be hard, but serial killers are so good at emotional manipulation, they'll have you do their bidding for them. I'm so scared for Rex's family because if they maintain contact, he maintains his control. But if they stop, they can truly start to put their pieces of their life back together and reconcile with this false reality that they've been living for decades. And I'm not sure who these people are, but I believe this is his wife. And then I don't know who these other people are. Oh, you're saying radar, not sonar? GPR? Ground. I don't think it'd be radar. Should be sonar. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, I think I pulled some stuff on the smiley face killer. Or happy face killer, sorry. That way you guys have a little context here. So this here is Keith Hunter Jasperson. He's a Canadian American serial killer who murdered at least 8 women in the United States during the early 1990s. He was known as the Happy Face Killer because he drew smiley faces on his many letters to the media and authorities. He was also he was 6'8", so he was a large American as well. Apprehended March 30th of 1995 in prison without parole, without the opportunity of parole. Oh, sorry. This was who we heard from. All that list of quotes was from this Miss Moore here. The Happy Face Killer. Here's a letter from him. This is another really strange case. I think there were some false confessions, and which prompted him to be more active with his signatures and things like that. Yep, I think that's it, guys. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's live stream. I want to thank both my sponsors for today, Cindy Lean and Judy B, for supporting my channel. Thank you once again. Everybody who participated in the chat and the poll, thank you. If you're part of the replay crew, please drop a comment. We'll get back to you. And if you guys could hit the thumbs up and like this video on the way out. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. Consider becoming a member. We have meetings every Wednesday, and sometimes we get into some shenanigans end of the month. So on that note, guys, I am out of here, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.